Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is part 2 of key points that I picked up from Think and Grow Rich. This is not just about manifesting to be rich, to have a lot of money. It is way more than that. I think this is really one of the books that, out of all the books that I've read, I would say that this can easily be in top 10. So let's talk about the remaining 2 points that I picked up from the book that I didn't share in part 1. So for those of you who are new to my channel or this video, please check out part 1 where I'll link in the description box below so that this is going to make more sense, and come back to watch it after you have done the part 1. So the mastermind group. Now this was something that I thought, wow, it's what a cool way to call this method or technique. This is where you introduce the concept of surrounding yourself with people that is going to help you to achieve your goals, that has the same faith, has the same desire, similar desire, that is able to elevate you. Which is why there's this famous saying that the 5 people who you hang out the most with, that are closest to you, will shape who you are. That influence is extremely important. As much as some people can say, nah, I'm quite a rebellious person, I'm individual and I don't really get influenced easily by people, you'll be very surprised that we all have our unconscious mind for a reason, and sometimes we're just unconscious. I think no matter how awakened you are, we still have the unconscious side. And so I think being very aware about who are the individuals, people that you come across in your life, or making it intentional or seeking to get to know new people who are like-minded, who is able to help you elevate your thoughts and shape your behaviors to get you closer to your goals, is going to actually determine whether or not you are going to be able to manifest what you want. You are strong as one, but we are powerful when there's a few of us who are like-minded. So if you have established the first step, you already know what's your desire, you have faith, and you're able to visualize, let's say, having financial freedom or having better health, right? So you need to go beyond that and ask yourself, who are the people around me? This is where you go through a screening process. I know that this sounds a little bit heartless, but sometimes in order to get your goals, you cannot let your compassion and your emotion get to you too much, right? So this is when you are not objective. So being very clear with your objective, and then you ask yourself, okay, list down who are the people that you are always in contact with, whether or not you want it. Why do I say that? Is because, for example, sometimes at a workplace, you cannot control the people that are around you, right? You cannot control who you work with. You cannot decide, oh, you know what, because you don't vibe with me, I'm not going to work with you. It doesn't work like that. Even family members, you cannot really choose them, right? So this is where you become a bit more mindful and ask yourself, okay, I'm spending a lot of time with these 5 people, right? So let me just evaluate them. Are they really giving me insights, giving me the vibes, the energy that I need? I can identify a few people that I think are like, could be red flags. Maybe I'm a red flag myself because I can identify red flag in people. I think the first step is the awareness. And so when I'm able to like catch a few signs where I'm like, this person may not necessarily be an investment for me to spend a lot of time on, okay, but the first thing that I would do is I would normally just confront it and go straight to the person and talk to them and try to align as much as possible the things that we want to achieve, right? And often I get into friction in this kind of conversation, which I totally do not regret, because I know that if I'm authentically coming to you with the best intention, and if we both want the same thing and trying to get somewhere, and then we can have a normal, constructive conversation as an adult and clear out any doubts. And I would take this opportunity to share with them, saying that, hey, you know what, there's certain things that you're doing that I think it's not very like healthy. Yes, I'm not your mom or your dad, I do not control your habits, but I'm just going to tell you that if you keep doing this thing that I know that it's damaging, it doesn't align with me as a person, I would avoid you. It's not that I will not work with you, but I will avoid you. I would say things like that so that they don't second guess with me. I don't give them a passive aggressive behavior, because I think things like that is just, you're like kids. Oh no, maybe kids are even better than that, because kids are more authentic. You're behaving like high school mean girls, and I think that is just very toxic. And so I think being upfront and being transparent and vulnerable about it is the most human thing that you can do, that most of us have already lost touch. I'm about to go off tangent, so let's move on to the final tip that I got from this particular book. Okay, so persistence and overcoming fear. Now, this is a topic that hits deep for me, because I'm a very persistent person, but I also know that sometimes being too persistent can get you into trouble. But it depends, right? Some people thrive and get rebirth from chaos, so that's debatable. What I want to focus on is, you have the desire, you have faith, right? You're always very optimistic. You have a plan, you're able to visualize it, you're surrounding yourself with the right people. But then, if you're not persistent, you don't have a resilient mindset. Again, if you are not consistent, because consistency is usually the enemy to a lot of us who are creatures of comfort. Sorry, let me rewind myself. Persistence means you have this strong will and determination that in the face of challenges and obstacles, are you able to continue through despite how you feel? I think this is where a lot of successful people is able to do, because I'm not talking about people who are lucky, okay? I'm talking about people who come from nowhere, have a lot of faith, persisted through, no matter what people say about them, challenge them, they just keep focusing the eyes on the prize, and eventually they get there. Those kind of people. I think persistence is what's going to keep things consistent, and this is how I think work is being paid off, right? That's the definition of hard work, because being consistent, we all know it's not the easiest thing. We do not have motivation every day, and sometimes you would face situation where you're like, why am I doing this exactly? Like, you just lose your purpose, right? And those moments are the ultimate test of asking yourself, do you really desire what you desire? And so persistence is key, and this coupled with overcoming fear. Let me go back. There's one practical tip that I can share with you, that it's just one question that you can ask yourself that probably is going to help you to maintain or build your persistence. Is whenever you go through certain challenge, ask yourself, why are you going through this? I know that some people, it's going to be very easy for them to just negatively say, yeah, it's not worth it. Why am I going through this? I think asking yourself why is going to remind yourself why you started. And a lot of times when we go through difficult things, instead of saying that, why I have to go through this, people would say, why is this happening to me? Woe is me, that kind of vibe. Like they play this victim mentality because it's easier. It's always easier to be the victim, obviously, but it's not easy to be the person to say, hey, you know what? Sure, things didn't go my way, but it's okay. I'm gonna continue, because I'm sure that if I can say things like, I've tried everything, basically means that I have not tried everything. It's always the case. There's always something else. And I think because your mind is like thinking about, there's always something else, it is why you're tired, because you've tried so much. But I think this is when the universe is testing you, right? How persistent you are. And when you say that you have a burning desire and passion for something, is it really burning? Are you really passionate? Do you really have the desire when you can give up so easily and you say that you've tried everything? Yeah, it's just a way of you to prove the person that you think you are or that you want to be. So having your purpose of why you want this thing, or why you need to have this thing, is going to make the how or the going through the difficulties a lot easier. Now, about acknowledging fear, I think this was something that was brought up to me, that I have a close friend that talks about realizing what are the basic fears that humans have, and it's quite an eye-opener because I never really thought that I was someone that have a lot of fear-based mentality or actions that I do that are fueled from fear, because unconscious, right? But when it's made conscious, I think this is the first step. And so I think I had to really isolate and ask myself, what are some things that I'm going through, and be very honest with myself and identify this thing that I do. Is it out of love? Is it out of faith? Or is it out of fear? It's, you just list down all the things that are important to you that you're doing, right? Or it could be all the pain that you're going through, and then you just do yes, no, yes, no. Is this out of, instead of yes, no, you would put it as, is this out of fear or is this out of faith, right? Example, a concrete one is, I used to fear a lot of things that I eat. I wouldn't say that today I am in the perfect condition where I don't fear certain things. I have certain programming in going through my head, and like information that I know that are based on science that may make it a little bit harder for me to change what I already know, which I am currently trying to work on. But you have to be realistic in that sense. You have to be reasonable and assess all things. You cannot just say, wow, I'm fearless, I'm just going to go dive deep into the ocean without going through any training, that kind of thing. It's like, there needs to be some things that are quite reasonable and realistic, right? It's not stupidly fearless. So I think it's the unknown, is the operating out of fear of failure, fear of rejection. The video got cut off. So as I was saying, acknowledging your fear is going to be step number one. Being able to identify the things that you do that is actually coming out of fear. For example, I'm eating healthy because I fear illness. I fear that I'm going to get sick. I think when you operate from a negative perspective, this is when you will actually get sick. I think this is just the beauty and the magic of how life is to teach you to really just have faith and operate from a more positive angle. And so instead, it's just a very simple like reframing of mind, reframing your fear as a growth opportunity. So for example, instead of saying that I fear getting sick, therefore I eat healthy, it's more about like, I eat healthy because I fear of getting sick. I'm scared of getting sick. So that is operating from fear. But if you operate from faith or love for yourself, it would be, I eat healthy because I love my body. I eat healthy because I love feeling healthy. So it's a very positive kind of intention, rather than just like, ooh, I'm not going to do all this because people are going to reject me, I'm going to fear, I'm going to be scared, I'm going to get into like some negative state, something that is unknown. So when you are able to identify it, it reduces the power. And then when you reframe it, you reduce it even more. I think one thing from Jordan Peterson, he actually shared that for some patients who have gone through certain like very traumatic experience in life, something very negative that has programmed them and that has caused them to have certain barriers and obstacles in life, that maybe go through certain things like they can't talk to people anymore because something traumatic happened. It's just causing a lot of blockage to very normal things that they're supposed to do, and they can't do it. So it makes it very dysfunctional. And so he did say that in order for you to go through trauma or to overcome fear, is actually to expose yourself to that fear very gradually. So example, one of the fear that people have is public speaking. I think it still stands true, especially in today's world where we have more and more introverts, right? it's extremely difficult when you have a room full of people who are strangers, especially looking at you and waiting for you to say something. And all you can have in your mind, your racing, thoughts and your heartbeat is telling you that, oh no, I'm going to say the wrong things, or they're going to judge me, it's that kind of mentality, like negative. And actually we have to love our nervous system or our body for it, because this kind of anxious response, yes, you can control, you can reframe it, but this kind of emotion is actually telling you that you're alive. Your body is trying to keep you safe, which you shouldn't hate it. So again, it's not operating from a negative space, it's not from fear, it's more from acceptance of like, okay, you know what, this is just a signal. It's for me to be careful with myself. Not necessarily that I would fail, but let's see what I'm made of. So Jordan Peterson advises that in order for someone to overcome that trauma or that fear is to expose them to it on a very gradual basis. For example, if someone is very claustrophobic, people who are very afraid of being boxed up in a room. Example, let's say there's a kid who is afraid of being in the elevator by themselves. It's not like you're going to overcome your fear today, I'm going to put you in the elevator for 5 hours, that kind of thing. You're literally killing that person. So it's, can you plan steps or set mini goals? It's again, right, taking baby steps. Can I just step into the elevator with a friend just for 1 minute and see how I feel? It's gradually exposing yourself to the point that it becomes less daunting, and then it becomes like a new norm, and then you overcome your trauma. So one final thing is act despite fear. Persistence means taking action. People who are persistent are not fearful. Time, repeated action diminishes the emotional intensity of fear. So action is the antidote to a lot of things. As much as sometimes taking too fast of action and then you become very impulsive, I think in today's world, people think too much and they take less action, which is, yeah. Find the balance, guys. Find the balance. Anyways, I hope that you found this part 2 useful, and let me know your thoughts. Have you experienced some of this? Have you tried any of these techniques? I'm very curious to know, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.